Hello, good afternoon, and welcome everyone to this session. I will just share my screen so we can start. So today we are going to talk about resilience and how to ensure future readiness of learning using foresight. A short look at today's agenda. So we will be with you for 45 minutes. We will try to make it as interactive as possible. We'll start with some introductions and a poll, and then we will dive deeper into foresight and what phenomena of the future are impacting education, and also some Q&A and what does it mean in practice. So my name is Katja Alkaisi. I'm the founder and CEO of Education House Finland. We're based out of Helsinki and Dubai, and we work with multiple Finnish educational and innovative solutions. I would like to introduce my co-speaker, Jenna Mäntynen. Jenna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. It's great to be here today. My name is Jenna Mäntynen. I work with Futures Platform. We are a professional services organization and a software company from Helsinki, Finland. And we're working with multiple organizations, educational institutions, and partners around the world to help them to thrive in the future and of course today. So we are supporting educational institutions to in order to make sure that they have a clear vision of what's changing in the landscape, and also what's not changing. So really supporting teachers, and therefore also giving them tools and skills to be able to, or kind of like vision to be able to support their students to thrive in the future. So happy to be here today to share some ideas with you.
Thank you very much, Jenna. So I think we could spend the next few minutes. I will launch the poll so participants can answer, and just waiting for others to join. So we would like to hear your voice in the beginning. So there's two questions in this poll. If you could have a look and answer those for us, that would be great.
Yeah, so first I can maybe talk a little bit about the questions. So first we would like to ask from you, what do you think, what phenomena, what trends, what changes basically do you think will be the most important in the world post-COVID? We're talking about the world with COVID or post-COVID. Well, it's nevertheless going to be different than what it was before the crisis. So please choose top three. You can choose multiple. What do you think is going to be most important? So what is going to have a bigger impact now after the world is going to be a little bit different? Is it the importance of mental health and well-being and ensuring that mental health issues are addressed? Or is it more supporting critical thinking capabilities and media literacy and ethics teaching? Or perhaps you're thinking more from the technical perspective that we're going online completely. Or maybe you are a head of school and you're thinking, is this going to affect how we're going to teach? And is it going to be degrees or a bit modular learning? So we have put here a little bit different options for you to select from. So feel free to select top three just to get your kind of ideas and your voice, because we're just really interested to hear, what do you think is important in the world after COVID? Great, I can see some answers coming through. That is superb.
Yeah, I think we don't have yet many people online because I think many will watch the recording. Also, what we can do is launch the poll separately in the VUCA app as well to get as many as possible.
Definitely. Sounds like a great idea.
So let's give it another minute and then we could go to the next slide.
Right. I can see some people joining still, so welcome. And you can jump right into action and share your thinking of what do you think is the most important phenomena in the world after COVID. So from your perspective, what has gotten more important? What do you think we should be focusing on from your perspective? There is no right or wrong answer here, but we're just interested to hear from you. What do you think is important now after the pandemic has happened? Has it shifted some priorities, and what are those priorities that we should be focusing on? Welcome, people joining. You're coming at the great time to be able to contribute to our question. You can see a poll up there. So feel free to give your ideas. What phenomena you think will be most important in the world after COVID? You can choose multiple, so feel free to tap in your thoughts.
I think we could maybe move ahead. I could launch the poll again towards the end as well, if needed. So I will end it for now, and let's move to the next one. So okay,
Great.
perfect. So yeah, so floor is yours, Jenna.
Thank you. So I will be very shortly just giving you an idea what is foresight, because foresight was mentioned in the topic of this this discussion that we're having here. So I'm just giving you a brief overview of what it is in case it's not such a familiar term. So as we know, the world after the pandemic will require some adaptation from all of us. And one of the things that we have encountered is that we need to be more resilient. And resilient is a word that is very multifaceted, and it is it's incorporating a lot of things. But resilience is most foremost what it is. It is the ability to adapt and the ability to react to the world around us, since the world is changing so fast, and not only fast, but in complex ways. And it's coming a bit ambiguous as well, in a way that it's a bit difficult to see what the change really is, because things are so interconnected. So what foresight is, it's trying to just help you to make sense of the change. That's what it is. It is answering the question, what if? So being able to play a little bit with alternative futures. So how could the world look like if this would happen? Or what if this will happen again for us? What will that mean from our perspective? That's what foresight is. It's a set of different methods that you can use either in classrooms, or when you're thinking the strategic direction of your educational institution, you can take foresight methods and just apply those to make sure that your teaching is resilient. The skills of the students are resilient. They are learning the resilience, as well as the direction of the educational institution is resilient. And yeah, that's what foresight helps you with. And to give you a bit broader perspective, the changes that happen in today's world are, I already mentioned, they are complex, they are interconnected, but we also should be looking at the change from a holistic perspective. And as we are humans, we sometimes tend to only look at our environment and our immediate environment, let's say. But when we're looking at the change, for example, the world post-COVID, we should be looking at from multiple perspectives. So we have global pressures that are affecting the educational, the future of education. We have societal pressures. What's changing in the societal behavior of people, of students, but also of people of tomorrow. then organizational pressures are interesting and very important for educational institutions, because we are preparing these people to work in these organizations. So where are those changing? Or like, what is changing in that perspective? And on the other hand, we have to remember that we're handling, you know, with individuals, what's happening on the individual level. And when you're looking at all of these perspectives, we call it the VUCA world. So it means that the world is just volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. It's a old military term to describe the changes in today's world, which is just very, very diverse. So we have to prepare our students differently than before, because the world is changing globally, societally, we're changing, our behaviors are changing, the demographics are changing, and then the organizations where they are going to work are going to change. So this is just giving you a bird perspective. Then we come down to a more practical level, of course, as a next step. So in a nutshell, how can foresight help education? You can develop a holistic understanding of the changes, as I just described to you, what's happening in different areas. You can build future capabilities within your, is it the school environment? It can be teachers and students, to be ready for the future and to innovate something completely new. And also what foresight helps is to kind of use your own brain to think critically, how can I use this information? How can I create something based on this? It's not enough that we just read. We have to really be applying it to our work. You can change to the next slide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think maybe we could at this point just relaunch the poll, since we have a little bit more participants after this part. Yeah, I will be relaunching. Just a minute. For some reason I have, yeah. Okay. So I wonder if it's just,
I hope you all can see the poll now.
Yeah. Is the poll visible? Yeah. Sorry.
Oh. It's okay. So I will just recap quickly what the poll is about. We did this in the beginning, but since we're all joining, hopefully all have joined now who are able to join the session. The poll is about learn from you guys who are on the line, and thank you for joining the session. We want to know from your perspective, what phenomena do you think will be the most important now in the world after this pandemic has happened? And you can choose multiple. What do you think that will have an impact? What is the most important? If you have to choose top three, what are the top three most important phenomena now in the world after COVID, if you have to select from these? Yes, great answers coming in. And yes, there are no right or wrong answers. It's just to collect your insights, really, to learn from you guys. So feel free to answer from your perspective. All right, great. We've gotten some answers. We also have another poll.
Yes, it has this one exactly. Yeah, it has both of the questions in them.
Yeah, it's below it. Yeah, you just scroll down, I guess, and then or just answering. Yeah, I don't know how the interface is exactly there, but you can answer the second question as well. What areas do you anticipate you will need most support in your work as educators in the world with COVID or after COVID? This is also interesting to learn, since different people have different needs, and it's good to understand where do you think you would need support in? Important question.
Okay.
Right.
I think I will end it for now. So, and share the results. Okay. So you want to have a comment on this one, Jenna, or interesting to see like mental health and well-being being there as a high one? And
absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Something that we've been at Futures Platform, we have a team of futurists who are researching different topics all the time, and this mental health issue we saw actually coming up quite quickly after COVID happened. So already I would say the bigger outburst in March, many of our people in our network contacted us saying we would need support understanding how this will affect mental health, and that's been a big hot topic. And it's interesting to see that you also find it's something that we should put more and more effort in the future in today's world.
And looking at the phenomena we will be discussing shortly, I see we also agree, like if we look at the areas needing support, so the digital and technical skills, for example, and for both the educators and the students.
I find it very interesting as well. The most kind of popular one at the second is keeping up to date with continuously developing content and subjects. Well, I'm happy that you joined today, because we will be giving you free access to our software, our platform, where you can access a future database for free. So if you're interested in that and you're concerned that, you know, how can I keep up to date, you're definitely in the right place today.
Thank you, Jenna. So let's continue from here to our next item on the agenda. So a few phenomena impacting education. So I will be deep diving in a short while in something we call a radar view that you actually see now on the right hand side. But we actually had a discussion with the Futures team, and we've been looking at what are the areas and the phenomena that might be having the biggest impact on education in the world. Some might call it post-COVID, or actually with COVID. And definitely there is like the human aspect, the aspect of what does it mean from a mental and well-being perspective. So we will be just giving examples of some phenomena called alienated young men, and also talking about well-being. Also, another thing is the technological change, and we saw it in the answers in your poll as well, is how much the world is changing, how much technology is changing, and what does that actually mean for education. And the third part is somehow related to societal, and we have noticed it a lot during the pandemic, even if it was before that, is the areas of disinformation and the importance of media literacy. So what I will do, actually, I will now stop sharing this, and I will be sharing the Futures radar, which is the live
background over here.
Yeah, which is the live can you now see my screen or no? Is that visible? Let me see. There's something funny happening in Zoom. Let me go back to it. Just 1 minute. This is when we talk about technical skills, and I'm even an engineer here. Okay. Okay. So I'm now actually logged into the Futures platform. Futures platform, and I have something in front of me called the Education and Knowledge Radar.
Perhaps I can say a few words.
You could maybe, please go ahead. Yeah.
Just in a 1 minute description what this is. So our futurists in our organization, they are monitoring the changes in various topics. One of them is education and knowledge. And what they do is they research the topic to find what is changing and what phenomena are impacting education, learning, teaching, and so forth. And then they do this mini analysis of each topic, and they input it into the platform. And those we call phenomena. The phenomena can be strengthening phenomena, something that is increasing in adoption or amount, or it can be also weakening. And then we have also weak signals, something that is emerging somewhere, but it's too early to say if it's going to be a global phenomenon. And then we have a fourth type, which is a wild card. I can give you an example. Deadly pandemics was a wild card in our platform. It has been for years. So those organizations who have used the database have been aware of the possibility of a deadly pandemic. It was unlikely to happen, like all of the wild cards are unlikely to happen, but if they happen, they will have a huge impact. So that's what you will see here. The colors represent the type. So the green dots are strengthening phenomena. The blue ones are weakening phenomena. The gray dots are the weak signals, the early warnings, if you will. And then the red dots are the wild cards. And now we will be focusing on a few of them, but as you will get access to this after this session, you will can dive deeper into this, and all of the content has been created by academically trained futurists. So it's highly professional database of future knowledge. So I'm sure many of you are already excited. Okay, when can I get my hands on this? But let's have a look at a few of them.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for this, Jenna. And yeah, definitely, like it is just, even if it's not used for like the planning or scenario building, just looking at the content is pretty amazing. And if I go here on a phenomena called alienated young men, I'll just show how it looks, but definitely let's have a discussion. What does it actually mean in terms of educators? So it is, and we can see here that the futurists have decided that this is a strengthening phenomena, and it's already it's happening now. And what does it mean? That the number of young men globally without jobs, without the possibility of starting a family, are getting alienated, and that is a big risk from terms of violence, extremism, and safety in general. So this gives background on it, but then of course, like as educators, once these things are known and can be looked at, I guess the next step would be like what to do about it. Another thing we mentioned as well was the mental health and the health and well-being. So those also have their own cards here. So for example, if I look at alienated young men, like we've talked to some experts as well, and all that, like the main thing is to look at the child as an individual. That might sound like also talking educational buzz, but this is why it matters, because there's been a lot of work with young marginalized boys, for example, in Finland, who were on the verge of ending up in bad ways and all that, and they were taking, like what happened with them is that they were really listened to and their needs were taken into consideration. So there was a lot of individual teaching there, listening to those boys, listening to the children. So this is one phenomena that highlights why it is important to teach on an individual and on a personalized level and to be listened to. The whole, for example, well-being aspect, the factors of positive pedagogy, about looking at character strengths and how to actually embed that in your teaching and learning, how to have that culture in your school, how to train the teachers to be able to teach children about kindness, about perseverance, about resilience, about courage, and all those things, that they understand what do those concepts means. And it has been proven that working with character strengths, working with positivity, has a huge impact on well-being. So that is how, like, we might look at this radar that it looks like buzzwords, but it definitely it's very much related to what's happening in schools and in education.
Definitely, and I think for example, alienated young men or the health and well-being, as we saw on the poll as well, it's just been, the importance has been just accelerated by this pandemic right now, because we're all isolated. So imagine the people who were already isolated, feeling isolated at least, now being actually really isolated and more drawn to these digital solutions and the digital world instead of having those human connections. So I think it has just amplified the importance of this.
Exactly. Another one we looked at was like, so you see here on the technological change like sector, that a lot of buzzwords we have all been hearing about: AI, about big data, about machine learning and all that. But what does it, for example, mean from an education perspective? So I would pick here the phenomena called need for data scientists. And there's a need for millions of data scientists and millions of experts in STEM-based education, in STEM-based jobs, for example. And a lot of people, like as you see from this card, saying just in the UK alone are losing their jobs in the less qualified jobs where robots are taking over and automation is taking over. And for me, I would see that then STEM, coding, science has to be there since the beginning. And for example, it is proven in research that the best age to start teaching science is 3. Where how do you do that? Like, you can't teach science in same ways as you teach the older ones. Like, that means special skills for the teacher, teaching through imagination, through play. Same thing with the coding, how to get girls motivated to code. Like, we have seen it year after year after year, like teaching in the traditional way of coding does not motivate everyone. So, but it's not anymore just the geeks that need to learn the coding or need the technology. Everyone needs it, because most jobs will be somehow related to the STEM field, and that has to be taken into consideration in the education. So it's not just the tools that we use, but it's like the future, how to prepare the children for the future, for example.
What I would add to this is also undermining kind of like the importance of implementing technological aspects to all subjects or across subjects, and not as a kind of like a standalone, a separate, as we know, and as we've just heard from Katja as well, is that it is incorporated in everything that we basically do today, and in more and more in the future. So thinking of ways, what kind of role does technology play in this, or as a broader term, or then something more specific, and incorporating those into our subjects is probably going to have a more and more bigger importance in the future.
Yeah, exactly, having it cross subject, because like the life we know is anyway, like we don't do math by itself or science by itself, but everything is incorporated, and we have a computer everywhere nowadays. I'll just touch upon, and we have 2 minutes on in this part, is the disinformation. So we have all have seen in recent months the level of disinformation there is, for example, around COVID, all these like 5G theories and the anti-vaccines and all that look very realistic. Like when you look about how they've been done, the deep fake that's around there, how professionally you can put out information that looks very real. And the older you are, the more difficult it is for you to start thinking critically and all that. So critical thinking, media literacy skills need to be there since early age, and very much taken on in education. Just as an example, actually, in Finland is ranked as #1 in media literacy education in OECD countries, but it is actually taught in school. It's taught in high school. It is very much tackled. Students are shown videos of deepfake and analyzing them and helping for them to think critically, because again, we go back to big data with the amount of information there, like how do you tell what is right and what is wrong? And that's why like media literacy and critical thinking skills are very important.
One more thing that I wanted to add for big data is completely another aspect to maybe conclude this with is the use of data. Schools are producing already quite a lot of data, and that's going to probably play a part and a role in tomorrow's education, and customizing the education with the data to our students. And that's another aspect that where big data comes in, is to think about how to harness and utilize the data that you're collecting or will be collecting in the future in order to improve the level of education that you're providing, and improve probably the health aspect, so you could monitor and to keep a level of sustainable environment in your school. So big data, it's a topic that we could talk longer also about, but it has also another aspect that you could utilize, and schools will be utilizing in the future as well.
Thank you very much for that, Jenna. And it's time to get a little bit more interactive again. So let me go back to the to our presentation here. So
I assume we have some sharing ideas coming up.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it would be really great if you have your phone there to scan this QR code, or if you go to menti.com and enter this code, and I will also actually add the link in the chat, and we are. Oops, I don't have it. Let me go back and get it. But if you scan this QR code or go to menti.com and answer this question, which is what can you do in practice to ensure future resilience in your classroom or in your school? And at the same time, if you've already answered, if you have any questions to us, like feel free to raise your hand or to add them in the chat, and we will be happy to answer them here for the next few minutes. And then we will continue on a practical level. How can you do foresight in the classroom or in your organization as a school as a school?
Correct. We're really interested to hear, what can you do? What do you think? What can you do in practice in your school or in classroom? It can be small things or bigger things. Any ideas are welcome. And again, no wrong answers are possible. So really excited to hear from you. You can, you can also write into the chat if you can't access the Menti for some reason. But also all questions for me or Katja are very welcome to the chat of this meeting. I can give you an example if you're thinking, what could that be? What are they looking for? So I'm just throwing in an idea. Maybe starting a future project that is cross classes, that is future themed. Maybe or organizing a future theme week in your school where all of the classes or groups have to prepare a project of future of different topic. You know, starting to creating the kind of like the critical thinking and the buzz of what is going to happen in our region or maybe globally. It's up to you. How do you want to scope it? And also to make them to do a little bit of research. You can use, of course, Future's platform to do the research on, or you can ask the students or teachers, whoever is involved, to do their own research online. That's also teaching then again media literacy and try to also spot disinformation, because not everything should be taken given. So there it's actually combining, again, multidisciplinary, so it's combining different things. So, but these are just ideas. I just threw in this kind of future week in your school. You could do some projects in classrooms, or what other ideas could you think of where you could promote future thinking and preparedness, resilience, innovation in your school? I'm excited to see if there are some ideas coming in.
Yeah, and we will also share the link on the chat as well. I think Lisa Grace is sharing it soon because I've just messaged her. So in a moment I will go and have a look at the results. So, but let's still have a look at.
Great.
Still give a.
And if you have any questions, feel free to type into the chat about foresight, about the future of education, or anything related to the topic. We will also be sharing you a link in a few minutes where you can access the platform for free. Oh, there is a comment. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Well, thank you for joining. Yeah, really fond of the educational system in Finland. Well, thank you. And it's been a process here and a result of many years of hard work. But thank you for that comment. Appreciated. And we are proud of it as well. I'm happy to share some of that with everybody, because that's what this is all about. We should be sharing our ideas and knowledge, and that's why we wanted to make this session interactive as well. Do we have some answers, Katja, already? Is this something that we?
Yes, let me. I saw one here. Yeah. Yes, here we are. So you want to? We have one answer, but that's
okay.
That's good. Yeah,
that's good. Okay.
Yeah. So can you see my screen? Is it there, or you see the presentation?
I can see it. Yes.
Yeah.
So to ensure resilience in the future, it's important to start with education on how to develop a growth mindset, helping teachers and students to take care of their mental health. Definitely. I do agree. Katja, what is your take?
Yeah, I love that mention of growth mindset. I mean, that is so key to so many things, and it encompasses so many of the skills and the competences we're talking about. And I think that the people who have passed through the last few months better than others are the ones with a growth mindset.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so very good. Thank you. So there is a question in the chat. Jana, you want to have a look at it?
Yes, absolutely.
Or I could answer that one actually. So do you think education is going to stay the same as it was after COVID? And Haldun thinks that we are on the edge of huge change, transformation towards the learning for many reasons. I totally agree with that. We actually we were lucky to have our own strategy session with one of the founders of Future, who is a great futurist. And the world of online education is going to increase, cyber schools, blended learning, and all that. And I think there's so many things we don't know about. One of them was in the poll was about is there going to be degrees or more modular learning? Because in the end, what matters is the skills and what we learn, and not the degree if the degree doesn't give you those skills. So would be interesting to hear your ideas in more detail. If anyone wants to have their voice heard, we're happy for you to speak out as well. We're quite a small group. If you have something to say, what you think education will look like. Okay. Please feel free to put that in the chat, but I think for now we have only a few minutes left, so I will go to our next we're actually 1 minute or a few minutes already a bit late in our timing, so I will now just go to the practical side, but keep your comments coming in the chat, and we can tackle them at the end. So go ahead, Jana, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. So just a few more words to conclude this and take it to a practical level. I'm talking about foresight. I have put this in two different baskets, let's say. So what can you do in classrooms, and what can you do to develop the strategical direction of your school, for example. So what are the benefits of doing foresight in classrooms, or how can you do that? You can, as mentioned, engage students. You can build meta skills such as critical thinking capabilities. You can participate, and just to ensure those kind of skills. Meta skills is a buzzword at this moment now, because they're saying that technology is not going to solve all the problems in the future. It is going to be able to solve the problems that don't need the brain to think critically. That's why it's becoming more and more important to teach those skills to us, to humans, because we're still needed very much to do those tasks, whereas the computers are able to do the repetitive tasks. You can use the professional database of future phenomena, for example, with our platform in the classroom, because it's already created by academically trained futurists. So you can use it as a validated content database. So it's already a highly sophisticated source where you don't have to think about if it's fake or not, or what is true and what is not. It is unbiased and from a global perspective. You can develop innovation capabilities. Innovation is the source of every nation, even, you know, where does everything start? It's innovating something completely new or developing something already existing. So with foresight, you can definitely do that when the mind starts to flow. And then you can also review student development with the platform and share ideas with other teachers. I have one practical example if you go to the next page. So it's just to show how could you do that. So this is, for example, in a classroom. This could be a task to create a future view of a school subject, let's say future of circular economy in one class, and the time horizon could be to 2020, from 2020, from today until 2030, and the scope could be Middle East or global or whatever. And then the students will create their own future radars in groups on the platform, for example, and they can use the trend database curated by the futurists, but they can also critically think more local phenomena and add those into the platform and to their radar. And they have to also assess the implications if you wish. They could also assess, what does this mean for us? How could we solve this issue? And this could be one task, a really interesting, they could be presenting the radars in the classrooms, and this could be also done digitally with the platform. So that's just one example that could be done. Another, as I said, is for educational planning. So what is this? It's for head of schools, for strategy teams, to ensure that your school and your ways to teach and learn are up to date. And how do you do that? Well, you have to know what's changing in the world. How do you know? You can access the database that we update on Futures platform, and of course do additional research. Also, you can keep your whole, not only the management team, but teachers and students updated of future developments by giving them access to the platform. So your whole school could be having access to it, and it could be utilized in different classes to ensure basically this kind of transparent knowledge sharing. Encouraging future awareness can be done by organizing future workshops and projects and just promoting this innovative culture. And of course, you can learn and share best practices with other educational institutions, because we have a lot of them as our clients, and we are always sharing best practices. So feel free to tap into our network. And this is one practical example. So basically, what is our strategic direction? What is our curriculum between 2020 and 2030? And then you could plan as a school your own strategy for the next 10 years by using the database in Futures platform, but also, of course, in the surrounding world. You have a lot of information yourselves, so you can input all of that into the platform as well. So that was the practical example. Do you want to say a word about Futures podcast, Katja?
Yes. So with all thank you, Jenna, for that, and for the practical examples that you showed. One podcast I would like to recommend is by Jeremy Williams, who many of you might know or heard of. He's a school principal and CEO in the UAE, and Jeremy has recently launched a podcast called Futures. Like, if you scan the QR code, it takes you to that, or you can find it on Anchor FM. And Jeremy is interviewing experts in each of the series, and he's actually choosing phenomena from the Futures platform. For example, the latest one he had was alienated young men. I think his next episode is coming out soon, so you can hear in practice him interviewing people about these phenomena. And I think this one is for you, Jenna. So
it is indeed. So I also shared now in the chat a link if you're not able to use the QR code, but if you are, it will take you to the same place. So you can get free access to our Foresight platform as promised, and you can have a free meeting with a Foresight expert, such as myself or any of my colleagues, to ensure how you can use that and to get ideas. How can you use that information in your school? So just scan this code or click on the link that is in the chat right now, and you will end up on our website to a landing page where it says with the green button, it says start a free trial. When you click that button, you will just put your information there and your trial is open. You have full access immediately to the platform, and then we'll be in contact with you about the meeting. But from my side, this is all. If you have any questions, should we have a look if there are some in the chat?
I think there was a couple of comments if you want to have a look, and I think then we are kind of out of time. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you think education is going to stay? Do you think education is going to stay the same as it was after COVID-19? I think we're on the edge of huge change and transformation towards online learning for so many reasons. Yes, and if you're interested to read more about the topic of online learning and blended learning and everything, the shift basically, I recommend you to go to the platform and search with the term education and try to find, there is a lot of phenomena related to education there. You will actually find research from futurists. How is that shift going to happen? So feel free to read more, but yes, this has definitely accelerated the change that was inevitable, but this has just given it such a big boost that we're going to see that change faster than we would have without the pandemic. There is another question, what the must-to-have topics should be included in students' books? We can keep teaching the same topics. That's a good question, I would say. I think, Katja, you have also quite a lot of experience from topic-wise, right?
Yeah. So I would definitely say that, like, topics will not go anywhere as if it's science or if it's language and all that, but it has to be very much related to the world around us. It needs to be interdisciplinary, project-based, and like hearing the student voice and focusing on soft skills in addition to the hard skills. But yeah, definitely not focusing only on knowledge, but focusing on competence. And I somewhere heard in a nice panel, someone smarter said that with the third industrial revolution was about like the brain, and the fourth is about the heart. So for us to live and control in a world of robots and AI, we need to have the heart, which means that the soft skills and everything related to that.
I think that's a great note to end this with. So what a great
yeah. Thank you everyone, and thank you for joining us. And the recording of this will be available on the VUCA platform, and hope to see you in future events.
Absolutely. Thank you on my behalf as well. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.